Okay, so today we're diving into something pretty big. President Trump's decision to slap a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports.
Yeah, no exceptions or exemptions on this one. It was a bold move for sure.
It kind of reminds me of like a chef, just throwing in a whole bunch of spices into this dish without really knowing how it's all going to taste.
Exactly. And in this case, the dish is the global economy. And let's just say some of the ingredients might not mix so well.
So let's break it down a bit. For those who maybe don't follow trade policy super closely, can you give us like a quick tariff 101?
Sure thing. So basically, tariffs are like a tax on imported goods, things coming in from other countries. The idea is to make those imports more expensive, which then encourages people to buy stuff made right here at home.
Right. So in this case, it's about protecting American steel and aluminum workers and companies. Yeah.
Exactly. The Trump administration argued that these industries were really struggling.
Mhm.
Facing unfair competition from countries like China, they wanted to give them a boost. So they came in like a superhero, swooping in to rescue the day.
But why not just target those specific countries then? Why hit everyone with this tariff?
Well, that was a big part of the controversy. The administration decided to go with a really broad approach. They said it was necessary to level the playing field and prevent countries from just, rerouting their steel and aluminum through other countries to avoid the tariffs.
So everyone gets hit with the same 25% tariff. No exceptions. It's a big gamble, right?
Definitely. It was a very protectionist move. And protectionism can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. Like what?
Well, a lot of our sources were talking about this idea of a trade war. What exactly does that mean?
A trade war is basically when countries start retaliating against each other with tariffs. It becomes this back and forth escalation that can hurt everyone involved. One country raises tariffs, then another country retaliates with even higher tariffs, and it can just spiral out of control.
So if the U.S. puts tariffs on steel and aluminum, what's stopping other countries from doing the same thing to American goods?
Exactly. They could say, hey, if you're going to hit our steel, we're going to hit your cars or your soybeans. And suddenly, American businesses and consumers start feeling the pinch.
So it's like everyone's at this big buffet, right? The trade war buffet.
Yeah, and the dishes are getting cold fast
Yeah.
because nobody wants to share anymore.
Right. And everyone loses their appetite.
Exactly. And when that happens, it's not just about steel and aluminum anymore. It can affect all sorts of industries and products. Prices go up, markets get volatile. Our sources describe it as like global markets sizzling like a hot iron.
So how does all this actually affect, the person listening to this right now?
Well, think about all the things that use steel and aluminum. Cars, appliances, construction materials, even things like soda cans. If those materials become more expensive, those costs get passed down the line. So you might end up paying more at the store.
That's a good point. And it's not just about prices either, right? These tariffs also strained relationships with some of America's closest allies.
Absolutely. The European Union, Canada, Mexico, they all felt blindsided by this move. They argued that it was unfair and protectionist. It definitely created some diplomatic headaches for the U.S.
So where does that leave us? I mean, did this whole thing actually lead to a full-blown trade war, or did things settle down?
Well, it was a tense time for sure. There was a lot of back and forth, threats and counter threats. But ultimately, I think most countries realized that a full-blown trade war wouldn't be in anyone's best interest.
So they managed to avoid the worst-case scenario.
Yeah, I think so. There were some negotiations, some compromises, and things eventually cooled down a bit.
But it's definitely something to keep thinking about, right? I mean,
Mhm.
how do these tariffs fit into the bigger picture of globalization and international trade?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And it's one that I think we'll be grappling with for years to come.
It's a really complex issue with no easy answers.
Hmm.
And it's something that affects us all in one way or another. So thanks for breaking it down for us. It's definitely given me a lot to think about.
My pleasure.
All right, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. See you next time.